Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new, my name is Alicia and this is the Speechy Garden. So today I'm going to be sharing some products and materials with you guys that I feel every SLP or SLP2B needs in their toolbox. Now I obviously won't be sharing everything that I feel is important to have because let's admit there's a lot of stuff. And every SLP's toolbox may look different depending on what population they're supporting or what setting they're working in. But these are products that I have found helpful when I was on my student clinical placements. So if you're interested in knowing what these products are, stay tuned and we're gonna get right into it. So the first thing, you guessed it, is a laminator. So I purchased this laminator a couple years ago off of Amazon. It was around $20–25. Laminators are great, especially when you're working with children, because if you've ever worked with children, you'll quickly learn that they tend to grab onto things, bend them, rip them, draw on them, and things like that. So I highly recommend you invest in a laminator because in the long run, your materials will just last you so much longer. And on that note, if you're going to purchase a laminator, you're going to need some laminating sheets. So these are just the 8.5 inch by 11 inch pouches. There's 100 pouches in this one package. So depending on how much you laminate, these might last you a really long time. On my first clinical placement is when I actually began laminating materials, and I'm so thankful that I did that because even today I reach for them and they're in perfect condition. And if you're gonna spend the time making materials, you want them to last long. So I recommend go get yourself a laminator if you don't already have one. The second thing I recommend is construction paper. And the reason I like using construction paper is it almost makes your laminating sheets more of a hard stock card, if that makes sense. So for example, I'll print my materials on regular printer paper, and then once that comes out, I'll actually paste my printed material onto a piece of construction paper of, you know, whichever color, and then I move it through my laminator. So then I end up with cards. These are just like articulation cards, but you'll see on the back, it'll have the construction paper on the back, and then I have my printed material on the front. I personally like the look of them this way. It's super affordable, so if you want to take that extra step in making your materials, then why not? Another great material that I love making use of are brown paper bags. And the reason I love using brown paper bags is you can be so creative with them and make quick, fun materials for your kids. So here's a material, for example, that I made on my first clinical placement. It's a kitty cat, and you can feed the kitty cat some food. I just made little articulation cards with initial S sound if that's what I was working on, for example, and the child would feed the kitten. I also had a bunny rabbit, and I'm not sure where that went. I couldn't find it for this video, but you know, I would feed the bunny carrots. You can make puppets. Obviously, this isn't a made puppet, but you guys get the idea. So you can get super creative, and again, it just keeps kids engaged if you switch something up out of their regular routine, and they love this. And you can buy a whole pack of paper bags for only $1 or $2, so it's definitely worth it as a quick material to make. Another material that kids love are dice. Now you can do a lot of different games that involve a dice in any aspect, but not just any basic dice. They love these like big styrofoam dice, and this one isn't even as big as it gets. Like I've seen some at the Dollar Tree that are huge. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And kids love it. It just makes the game a lot more fun because then they look forward to their turn when they get to hold the dice and use it. Now, depending on what you're targeting, you can even make your own dice. So this is another example of one I made with a bunch of pictures on it. So you can target articulation, you can target vocabulary, and it's the same idea. You know, you just kind of toss it and whatever it lands on, you know, find a rhyming word with duck, or what's the initial sound in duck, you know what I mean? So again, you can get creative, but dice are definitely something that is always in my toolbox. Another essential is a time timer. Now you don't have to get a fancy one, but I have seen some SLPs get an official time timer. I personally just like to use my phone. I'll use the timer setting on there. What's nice about having a timer, especially during your sessions, is it keeps you on schedule, so you know when to move on to the next activity you have planned. But also it gives kids an idea of their expectation, and they can see how much time is left so they can, you know, really stay focused within that time period. In my past experiences, I have found that some time timers can be a bit distracting for kids, and they'll tend to pick it up or start playing with it, especially if it's like a funky one that doesn't look like an official timer. So just keep that in mind, but having a timer is always good, especially as a new clinician, when you're trying to manage both time and the behavior of your students. When working with the school age population, I also really liked using whiteboards with them, so that's another product that I recommend. So this is one that I got from, I think, the dollar store. It's a little dirty, I haven't properly washed it. So a whiteboard is just something that is super affordable to purchase, and it's just so versatile to use across so many different settings. And just from my own experience, kids love writing on whiteboards, and you have all of like your different colored markers. They love it. It can be a great reward even at the end of an activity for them to take a few minutes to draw or, you know, write, do whatever they want with it. But overall, I recommend. Another material I found super helpful on placement are actually magnetic letters. So I bought a little box of these from the dollar store. Again, it was like $1 or $2, so they're super affordable. They're pretty basic. They just look like this. It's upside down. You guys get the point. So there's all these alphabet letters. They come in capital and lowercase. So again, letters are great to have if you're working with kiddos who need to be supported in literacy, phoneme awareness, all that kind of stuff. And just going back to the whiteboard, if you do have a whiteboard with you and you have the magnetic letters, this is just a great way for the kids to visualize all the letters going across. They can manipulate it and move it around if you're teaching grammar. So there's just so many different things you can do with letters. Again, affordable. I recommend it. And since we're on the topic of literacy, what better way to support kiddos with their literacy than reading books? So I recommend starting your collection of books if you are interested in working with young kids or school age population. I just have the most basic books, nothing too crazy. If you're a student on placement, that's going to require some books. Instead of going and purchasing them and spending your dollars, I would recommend just going to your public library and just booking them out temporarily. Even online, you can download some free printable books. And here's an example of some decodable books that I found online and I just printed for free. But yes, books is a definite must. Now this next product is super random, but also I feel like every SLP should have this product at least somewhere in their toolbox because I don't know, I just think it's so amazing. It's a Mr. Potato Head. Now, if you're wondering, why is she recommending a Mr. Potato Head? There are so many different things you can target with a Mr. Potato Head, from requesting to vocabulary to expressive and receptive language to following directions, anything. And it's just so fun, and kids are obsessed with Mr. Potato Heads. I never knew how obsessed kids were with Mr. Potato Heads until I started using one. Now I've seen varieties of Mr. Potato Heads. I feel like the one I have is super basic, but always keep an eye out at like Walmart or any stores that have, you know, toys like this, even Amazon maybe, because once it goes on sale, just buy it and know that you will at some point definitely use it. So the next product that I want to share with you guys are filing folders. Now, as an SLP student clinician, you're going to get so many different materials while you're on your placement, whether it's assessment resources, different therapy materials, or just information around the area or the population you're supporting. So what I've done as a way to stay organized is get one of these file folders, and each file folder that I have targets a specific population that I've worked with. So for example, one might be literacy, one might be articulation, one might be adults with aphasia. So within each folder, I will have all of my different resources that I've collected over my clinical experiences that I want safe and kept in a separate spot from anything else. So that in the future, when I am working with that population, I know exactly what file folder to go into, and all of those materials around that specific area will be in the folder. But that is all for today, my friends. I hope you found some of these suggestions helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop a like down below. Share this video with any friends who might find these suggestions beneficial. And if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for any notifications on when I post a new video next. Also, if you want to be friends, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at the Speechy Garden, where I post more lifestyle and day-to-day content. But that is all for now, friends. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.